The best build for Miyabi. That's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. And I have actual footage for you guys. The Frost Queen herself. The Hoyo gods have listened, and we do have content creator server access. So, guys, I do have to let you know this up front. This is all subject to change because this is before she actually comes out in the game. So, there are things that could change. But I do want to say that this is probably going to be pretty close to what you're going to get at release. But I do have to let you know that little disclaimer up front. And my God, is she a damage fiend, guys? Like, you're going to hear me say that a lot throughout this video because she is an absolute damage. Like, she just does so much damage. It's insane. She plays off of Anomaly super well. She is super low cost with your teams as well. Like, you can run super free to play teams with her and her still work really well. Even when you're not running her on Anomaly based teams, you can still get an insane amount of damage out. And while yes, I do think her skill ceiling is quite high, she can be easy to play if you just want to unga boonga it like me. I like unga boongaing it, guys. Okay, I just go in there and spam buttons and just do it. But if you do like combos and like doing combos, I think she'll be great for you as well. So let's go ahead first and talk about why you should subscribe to my channel if you like content like this. And secondly, let's go ahead and talk about kind of how she works first, and then we'll get into the build after that. The main thing that Miyabi's going to be doing is different from a lot of other ice units is she actually has frost damage versus the standard ice damage, and you'll see that here. You put the frost burn effect on the enemy. And the really big thing from the frost status effect, guys, is that it can also be paired with the ice status effect to trigger disorder effects. Now, she cannot actually trigger her own disorders within her own kit, though she does scale off of ice damage percentage. As you can see right here, guys, there's a dark blue number. That is going to be the frost effect, and then you also have the shatter there at the end. Now, guys, if you look in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see these little dots. This is going to be her fall and frost ability, and how you get these, guys, is by using the skill. So if we use the skill here, as you can see, we get 3 stacks there. Realistically, it's 2. We get the little back kit for the frost burn, which we got an additional one from that. But if we just go in again, hit it again, you can see we get 2 stacks from that one there. Now, we can actually chain these up to get some more stacks, guys. So we can go in with the ability here and then hit the skill button again and use an additional one to get 2 extra stacks. By triggering the frost burn effect, it's actually giving us 1 extra one. Now, that can only be activated once every 10 seconds, so you do kind of have to time it up to make sure you're getting the most use out of it possible. You can also amplify the amount of stacks you're getting by causing disorder on the enemies, which means if you're running it on a team with like Yanagi or something like that, you'll get these points much faster. Where these points come into play, guys, is the Shimosuke stance. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. Surely I am. I'm bad with names. You guys know this already. And this stance can be activated after having 2 stacks of the Fallen Frost. What you can do, guys, you can hold down for a second here, and that uses 2 stacks. You can hold down for a little bit longer here. You get a little 2 charge there, and this is a little bit wider. Now, the damage gets really crazy at is you can hold this down for 3 charges. 1, 2, 3, and then she goes and does her big slash here, does Frostburn, and she just does an absolute shit ton of damage. But where this gets really interesting at, guys, is after this 3rd stack here, you can see I can swap into Yanagi here. She's still going with her attack, and I can just bring in Yanagi, and I can just do an absolute crap ton of damage here while she is still in this state, guys. And if you notice, look, she still had 5 of those stacks up. Why? Because every time Yanagi gets a disorder, she gets these stacks back up. So you can basically just keep doing this here as long as you have energy for Yanagi and just keep getting these stacks back up. So absolutely insane there. You just need a little bit of timing to make sure you're doing this properly. But look, I'm already back at these stacks, guys. I don't know. She is insanely broken, I feel like, guys. She just does so much damage, especially when paired up with Yanagi. I hope you pulled her. That's all I'm saying. Do you have anything to say for yourself for making Miyabi this much of a fiend? Alright, guys, so let's go ahead and talk about quickly what Miyabi's core passive is going to do. It's called Searing Cold. Whenever she deals frost damage to an enemy, she's going to be applying ice fire to the target. That's going to last for 30 seconds. When accumulating frost anomaly buildup against targets with ice fire, Miyabi's frost anomaly buildup rate is going to be increased by 100% of her crit rate up to 80%. Crit rate is super important when building your Yanagi. Yep, guys, and you want to be hitting at least a minimum of 80% when you're building her. Another big thing with the Frostburn state, guys, is also going to be allowing your allies to do additional anomaly buildup as well. So if you have any other anomaly characters on your team, they're also going to be building up that anomaly faster. So that leads you to getting disorder procs off quicker. Also, so a couple other special things I want to note here, guys. She can actually trigger this dash effect here where she just goes into the enemy really quick. You just want to make sure that your actual dash meter at the bottom is filled up. You can see it has a quick little cooldown on it sometimes. So you just want to make sure you have that up, and then you can quick dash into the enemy to get to the fight that much quicker. Also, guys, if you notice by her basic attack, she does start turning into ice damage after a couple hits, guys. Now, the first 2 hits of this is going to be physical damage, and then all the hits after that are going to be all frost damage. Her ultimate move, apart from looking absolutely sick, guys, is going to be giving her 3 extra stacks as well, and she's going to be increasing the amount of ice damage she's able to do on top of that. It has very high multipliers, so it does a lot of damage. You definitely want to make sure you're leveling this up. And then the final thing I want to mention on the kit here, guys, is her additional ability. Now, how the additional ability is going to play, guys, is basically whenever a character in her squad is a support character or shares the same faction, which is section 6, her Shimosuke damage is going to be increased by 60%. That's the charge move that she's going to be using most of the time to do most of her damage. And then on top top of this, guys, whenever a member of your team triggers a disorder, she'll be getting 2 stacks of Fallen Frost, and the next charge basic attack she's going to be using will be annoying 30% of the target's ice resistance. So not only is she mega buffing herself, not only is she helping out with disorders, which is a huge multiplier, especially when paired with other anomaly characters, you're also going through 30% of enemies' ice resistance. This just makes her a damage fiend, guys. The damage, I cannot convey how much damage she actually does to you. All right, guys, so with that little kit breakdown out of the way, we talked about a lot how she synergizes with other characters, so let's go ahead and talk about her best in slot team. Starting off first with her best in slot team, which is going to be Miyabi, Yanagi, and also Seizure King. Now, the reason why this works so well is you have Yanagi to come in and trigger a lot of disorders on the enemy, which Miyabi needs a lot of. The more stacks of Fallen Frost that Miyabi's going to be getting, and then obviously Caesar's there to kind of be a tank for you, give you shield, and also be giving her an attack bonus as well to just increase the whole team's damage. So this is going to be the best in slot team, though it is pretty high cost. So let's go ahead and talk about the second best in slot team now, which is going to be a team of Miyabi, Lighter, Lucy. This exchanges out your Seizure King for a Lucy, which is a support type character, so it'll also be activating Miyabi's ability here. On top of this, guys, you're using Lighter, so not only now do you have a breaker on the team, you also have someone that's going to increase the amount of damage she's doing to the enemy, and also you're going to be putting a res down debuff on the enemy as well from Lighter's alternative ability. So this is also going to be a very solid team. The fun doesn't stop there, guys, because we have another team with the Sons of Caledon, guys, or Caledon, however you say it. Miyabi, Lighter, and Bernice, guys. Now, there is one downside I would like to mention with this team, right? Bernice and Miyabi don't really mesh that well together. The reason why is because she doesn't play off of any anomaly type character, essentially, with her additional ability. So that means you're not getting as many stacks up from her additional ability as you would normally get with running either a support or a section 6 character on the team, but that's not to say this team can't work for you. And then on to the final team I want to talk about today, and probably my favorite team, because it's the most free to play team that you can get. You can literally build this team from the current banner that she's going to be on, guys. I'm talking Miyabi, Shokaku, and Piper. Now, the reason why this team works so well, first of all, you have 2 Frost, 2 Section 6, so that's really good, right? You're getting the attack buff from Shokaku, and then also you can transition Shokaku into a quick assist from Miyabi, so that's also really good. But not only that, guys, you have Piper on the team as well, which is able to proc off disorders. And when I tell you, I think that Piper is probably one of the best, I think the best A-rank DPS we have in the game. She does absolutely insane assault damage and can also trigger disorders off with Miyabi. Like I mentioned in the kit breakdown, guys, you can use her 3 charge basic attack. While that's going off, switch over to Piper and then start spinning to win, get the disorder off there, and then also help her with getting more stacks, do a huge amount of damage because you're already getting the Frostburn effect off with her, and then pairing that with Piper. Super, super nice. Now, guys, with that out of the way, with the teams out of the way, I want to tell you about the best in slot W engine, because this is where it gets kind of muddy at, okay, guys, because she really doesn't have that many options. So obviously her best in slot W engine is going to be her signature W engine, because her signature W engine, guys, gives something really special. It gives crit rate. Like we mentioned before, guys, you need at least 80% crit rate to max out her buff. It's also going to be giving a 50% increase to her crit damage. Also, whenever she's using an EX special attack, whenever any other squad member applies an attribute anomaly to an enemy, it increases the equipper's ice damage by 20%. You can stack this up to 2 times. That means you can get 40% increased ice damage for her as well. This is hands down her best in slot. Would definitely recommend going for this if you can. Guys, you don't have to pull for Haramasa this update, guys. You get them for free. Use the extra polychromes on this. Trust me, it will be the best thing that you do, but I'm not going to sit here and cope and tell you that's the only thing you can do, because there are other options you can run, though you might think they're cope, because there are no other anomaly W engines that give you crit rate, guys. The only thing that it does is give you attack, though I really don't recommend those W engines because of the fact that you do need to reach an 80% threshold, and I think you're going to need all the crits you can get. So let's go ahead and talk about another alternative here, and that's sacrificing the passive ability that you have to go for a crit rate and main statted attack gear. And you can use a bunch of different engines here, right? You can use Steel Cushion, which gives you increased crit rate. You can use Ellen Joe's signature W engine, which gives you crit rate. You can use the BP engine, which gives you increased crit rate, but there is one other option that you can use, and that's what I'm going to be using in all the background footage you're going to see, guys, and that's going to be Lunar Novi Luna, guys. This is a B rank W engine, because this W engine gives you the equivalent of 6.5, over 6.5 crit rate substat rolls. You only get 2.4% per roll, guys. It's a stagnant roll. There's no variation in between the actual rolls you're getting, right? So this means that this takes away from you getting extra substats in your gear, which means your gear doesn't have to be as good to hit the 80% threshold you need to reach. I definitely would be recommending you use this W engine if you decide not to pull for her signature. If you don't have any of other ones that work with crit rate, I would definitely recommend getting this. Now, you could obviously run one of the attack anomaly ones if you wanted to, if you can reach 80% crit rate without actually having this, guys. Now, gamers, with the W engines out of the way, there is something else we have to touch on, because what goes hand in hand with W engines that you can summon for? Easy enough, guys. Her mindscapes, her additional abilities that she has, guys. So at M1, guys, M1's gonna be super strong, guys, because this will allow you a more frequent activation of Frostburn. On top of this, it'll be allowing you to ignore up to 30% of the enemy's defense. So this is gonna boost her damage to the absolute stratosphere with just M1 here, guys. At M2, guys, is going to be allowing her basic attack and dodge counters to do increased damage. On the 5th hit of the basic attack, you'll be getting 1 point of Fallen Frost. This means you won't have to use her EX skill every time to get these Fallen Frost stacks up. So that means you don't have to worry about energy as much with her kit. They'll be increasing your starting Fallen Frost points from 3 to 6 whenever she enters battle. This means that she can perform a 3-level charge slash at the start of the battle instead of needing to ramp up. And finally, this gives you a 15% increase to her crit rate, which makes her 80% crit threshold that much easier to hit. M4 is just a general increase to her Frostburn damage. And then finally, guys, at M6, this is going to be significantly increasing her charge slash damage, and also charge slashes automatically launch during charging, making her that much more powerful. Now, guys, in terms of what I recommend for Mindscapes, probably I would just recommend M1. I think M1's super strong. Now, if we're talking about how you should be spending your polychromes and where you would summon if you've been saving up this whole time, I definitely would recommend getting her first, obviously, and then after that, go for her W engine, her signature W engine, and then I would go for M1, M2. Now, do I think she needs it? No, I don't think she needs it at all to do the great amount of damage she does, but this will skyrocket her damage and make you just be more Oonga Boonga if you really don't care about combos that much. She'll just destroy the damage ceiling with M1 and M2, guys, so that's what I would recommend. Now let's go ahead and talk about those best in-slot disk drives, gamers. Oh wait, pause, stop right there. If you've made it to this point in the video, or maybe you got scammed by clicking on a timestamp, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now, gamers. Not that many of you are subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button now, because the more subscribers we get, the more access we get to these private beta servers, and the more informed my guides can be. So with that being said, guys, hit that subscribe button now, and let's go ahead and talk about those disk drives. Guys, best 4-piece slot for her, guys, easily, hands down, the completely new branch and blade set. Now, why this is going to be her best in slot, guys, is because this will be, first of all, at a 2-piece increasing her crit damage, and then at a 4-piece whenever her anomaly mastery exceeds 115 points, the equipper's crit damage will be increased by 30%. Whenever you apply freeze or shatter on the enemy, guys, you'll be getting an extra 12% crit rate increase as well. So this will also aid you in getting to that 80% crit rate threshold that you need to reach. In terms of anomaly mastery, guys, she's already sitting at 116, so you get the 4-piece bonus for absolutely free. You don't have to worry about anything with that. And then for the 2-piece set, guys, there's only one way you can go with this, guys. Like I mentioned before, she needs 80% crit rate. So with that being said, you want to be getting the 2-piece Woodpecker Electro. This will give you a free 8% crit rate. This helps out so much in getting to that 80% threshold that you need to reach. Definitely would be recommending at least a 2-piece Woodpecker Electro. So now let's go ahead and talk about some of the main and substats that you're going to be needing, guys. For the 4-piece, guys, you're going to be aiming for crit rate. Would really recommend this, especially if you're not going down the route of getting her signature W engine. For the 5-piece, guys, I would aim for ice damage bonus or attack percentage. And for the final 6-piece, guys, you're going to be aiming for attack percentage. As far as those substats are concerned, though, guys, you're going to be wanting to aim for crit rate, crit damage, attack, or pin ratio. These are the main things you're aiming for here, guys. Like I said, an emphasis on the crit rate until you reach 80%. You want to reach that minimum of 80% before you focus on anything else. I would definitely focus on that over every other stat. As long as you can get to that minimum of 80%, literally the other main stats you have on here will carry her damage, and you'll still do an absolute shit ton of damage. Just make sure you're getting to that 80% threshold before anything else. And with that out of the way, guys, there's one final thing to talk about. BANGBOOs. Yeah, BANGBOOs, guys, we love them. They're so cute, aren't they? There's realistically only 2 BANGBOOs to choose from, guys. If you're using her on a team with Yanagi, use the new Agent Gulliver, guys. He's going to assist you in getting some more electric anomaly buildup, which helps Yanagi out get her anomaly up faster, which means you're doing disorder faster. And really, guys, your BANGBOO is really going to depend on what team you're running them on. If you're running them on a Sons of Kalydon team, then I would probably run like a Sons of Kalydon BANGBOO here. It really just depends on who the 2 units on your team are that match up the best for the BANGBOO that you're using. Okay, guys, let's just think about it a little bit. Not too hard, right? Anyways, gamers, that's going to do it for today's video. If you like what you saw, if you like Miyabi, if you think she's going to be absolutely cracked for your account, please leave a like on the video and maybe hit that subscribe button. So with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Later. Bye-bye.